You know, it's interesting. We had this conversation the other day, and since we were talking about the NFL, I hope our producer Kennedy doesn't kill me. I just thought to myself, we got Terry Foster here, we got Braylon Edwards here, two guys that would probably have a unique perspective on it. So Dan Campbell's taken some heat from some people nationally and some people locally for some of his antics. And, you know, just as a reminder to you guys out there and to Terry and Braylon that maybe didn't get a chance to hear my take on it, I don't have a problem with it. It's all fine and dandy. Okay, fine. But if the Lions struggle the way that many people, including yours truly, struggle in the next year or two, it's something easy for people to look at, right? Oh, we should have seen this coming. Our coach has on a racing helmet. Our coach, you know, the things that people love about this guy now are going to be the things. I use Braylon, I use the example of Brady Hoke. It was amazing how quickly the mob turned on Brady Hoke. He doesn't even wear a headset. Well, he didn't wear a headset in that first magical year, and nobody had a fucking word to say about it.
The Sugar Bowl, right?
And so that's the way that fans are, and that's the way that things are. Terry, I heard you say this to Braylon, so I don't want to steal your thunder. I think you had a unique take on it, and some of the Dan Campbell antics.
I'm wondering if Dan Campbell is an overreaction by the Lions for hiring Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia came in here, and they told him, day one, don't try to be Bill Belichick. Don't be an ass. It's exactly what he did. He said, fuck you. I'm going to do what I want to do. So the locker room became so toxic that when the Lions were looking for a new coach, this was my comment. They don't need a guy who is an expert on X's and O's. They need a guy that's going to recharge that locker room. And so I'm wondering if Dan Campbell is that guy that they overreacted to. That he came in during his interview, he was a clown, he was having fun with everybody. And one of the first things Sheila Ford said at the press conference is, get a load of this guy. Well, this is who he is. So what I don't know is how will athletes respond to this? The public, you know, you get Joe Sixpack, I'll run through a wall for this guy. Now I'm wondering if Joey Washboard feels the same way, who's in that locker room. Like, okay, this guy's a little bit too crazy for me. And I talked to Joik about this, and Joik said, I guarantee you, in the locker room, he tones it down. But in the public, he can act like a clown.
I think at the end of the day, we're seeing a new culture now as it relates to coaching and people doing things a different way than the past. Like in the past, you used to old coaches, white hair, been around forever. They were under Shula or Seifert or Holmgren, etc. And you used to seeing a certain type of coach. Now you're seeing a little fun, more quirky, like Dan Campbell, the stuff that he's doing. Pete Carroll is notorious. I played for Pete, notorious for having fun. Sean McVay, you see how Vrabel coaches down in Tennessee. Players like that. Like players it gets them off their square. It's like, oh, it's a cooler guy. He gets us. He's more laid back. You're not afraid to mess up, or you're not afraid to be yourself. Just like, give an example, like on commentators for years, they look like Pat Summerall, like Mike, they like John Madden. They're the older guys. Now you're getting young guys like Tony Romo, who's giving you all this extra excitement. Like, it's changing the way that you're looking at things. Like, oh, that's cool. I like that. It's different. I think he's one of those guys that fits in that category. This is just something different. The hell with it. It's going to be good for the team. Like he said, he doesn't have to be an X and the old guy. And like Joik said, he tones that down in the locker room.
I want to ask you first the player perspective. You know, what would be going through your mind? You bring up such a great point. Really, there were 3 or 4 different trees. There were.
Yeah.
There was the Jimmy Johnson tree, and you're left thinking, how the hell does Norv Turner keep getting jobs? Why is somebody hiring Dave Wanstead? You know, there were
Schottenheimer.
There was the shot. There was the Walsh. There were all these trees where it just all these guys just kind of matriculated out and got jobs.
Parcells.
The Parcells
has to be done that way.
And suddenly they got a second job and sometimes a third job, and you're like, how the hell is this happening? So when I heard people talk about the Old Boys Network, There was validity there.
100%.
Let's be 100% real. How did some of these guys keep getting jobs, Terry?
Yeah, Lions, the kingpin of the Old Boys Network. When you look at their general manager, first general manager when the Fords took over was the old man's drinking buddy. Then that was Russ Thomas. Then the second guy was Russ Thomas's boy. So they hired him as the second general manager, even though they had Jerry Venisi on staff who did this tiny little thing. He put together the Chicago Bears who won the 1985 Super Bowl.
Huh.
But they bypassed him for this other guy's buddy. Then after that, why did they hire Matt Millen? They didn't hire him to win a championship. They didn't hire because he's a good guy. People like him. That's not a reason to hire somebody. That's ridiculous. But that's the Lions mentality, which sunk them into the ground for decades upon decades upon decades. So yeah, the NFL is an old boys network. Yeah, if you look at press conferences, just look at press conferences when they hire a new coach. We have a relationship that dates back 20 years, or they say little things like that.
What the hell does that have to do with winning?
Because it's my boy, and I know my boy is going to come through for me. That's the mentality. And you got to get out of that.
Yeah.
Mark said all the ex-players are behind him, so I will just believe them over the media. Just an opinion. Yeah, Mark, I don't have any issue with it. My question is this, and this is to you, and if you don't apply, then I think you know what I'm talking about. What if, and I hope you're smart enough to, the Lions are going to struggle the next 2 years. It's by design, and I'm really cool with that. For the first time in my life, this is a franchise that is admitting, without saying it, we're awful. And the way that we've conducted business our entire last 50 years has been terrible, and we're going to fix it. And it's going to take time, but we are going to fix this. And to me, I love it because it's a change from blowing smoke up everywhere. We're this close. How many times have we heard that? So to the people out there, and Mark, I don't know if you apply or not, but to the people out there that think that this is going to happen right away, and Terry, you and I have been besieged by people like that. You know, I think you guys are being too mean. They're going to win 11 teams this year and everything. Okay, what happens when, not if, when they win 5 games next year? And then the year after that, they win 6 or 7. After 2 years at the helm, he has 13 wins against, 22 losses or whatever. Are people going to feel the same way? Or are you going to start to hear some of that kind of seep in? We should have known. I mean, this has been a circus.
Sean, here's the big challenge. I have said the Lion fans are stupid, and I really believe that. But here's the challenge for them: is within that losing, they got to look and say, okay, this team is improving, or I see the end result, even where he's trying to get this team, even though I don't see it right now, because he's going to have some clownish moments. And so you can't just throw up your hands and say, okay, he's been lionized and that's the end of it. You have to see if this guy is moving slowly up a ladder to make this team better rather than just looking at his foibles.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 things. I agree with what you said. It's one of those things where never been done before. Said it, got it out there. We're going to struggle for the next 2 years. That helps you prevent, Jim Schwartz in and out. Mariucci in and out, coaches just in and out, Patricia in and out. That helps you get over that trying to fire a coach after 2 years. 2, it's one of those things where, like you said, look at what the Dolphins have done over the last 2 years. They were still losing games, but it started to change how they were losing. They were in games. They had chances to win games. They were starting to win at the end of the season. You saw it happen right before your eyes. If they can have that type of success, Dan Campbell in the line, that right there, Lions fan, that's what you want to see in the next 2 years, something like that.
If you watch this show on a regular basis, Braylon, you don't even know this. You sung to my heart because the 2 teams that I look at in the NFL are the Cardinals and the Dolphins. And 2 years ago, everybody and their brother thought those 2 teams were going to be in the wilderness forever. And both of them missed the playoffs by that much. Best case scenario is you have something like that with the Lions. Yeah. Best case scenario. But I like what the Lions are doing. Terry, I'll go back to something I've heard you say half a dozen. They're acting like a real professional franchise now. Brad Holmes is acting like he's running a real National Football League team right now.
Well,
And that's-
they did an actual national search. They actually, instead of hiring my boy or my girl, I'm going to find out who's the best person out there. Now, they may not have hit. You screw up even when you do that, but you got a better chance of being a legitimate franchise rather than this, okay, Frank over there, that's my guy. We used to eat pizza together. We used to have bourbons together. Come on in. You're my GM. They didn't do that.
Great stuff. Now, love to get the perspective. Braylon, one last thing before we move on. What are the guys in the room saying about this? You've been a part of rooms. You've been a part of, different winning teams, losing teams, everything in between. Does this stuff matter to you guys at all, or is it just, noise that's out there that is of no concern to you?
Not at all. And a lot of times, players like the perspective, like to take the stance. Let them think this. While we're really working on this, we know what we got going on. We know what we're doing. Let us be the underdog. Oh, yeah, sure. Let everybody want to play us. Like my third year in Cleveland, 2007, we won 10 games. Didn't make the playoffs, which is some BS, but 10-6. Everybody always wants to play Cleveland. We had 6 Pro Bowlers that year. Same thing in the media. Same old Cleveland. Who the hell is Rob Chudzinski? He's a tight end guy. Why is he the head coach? Offensive coordinator, et cetera. We knew what we had, so when they were saying that, we were like, yeah, we'll be all right. We'll try to figure some things out. We were beating teams. It went from the same old Cleveland Browns to no one wanted to play us that year. We were 8-1 at home or 7-1. So the guys in the locker room are fine. They know what they have, and they don't mind being an underdog. Hey, let them think we're the same old Detroit Lions. But when we get inside Ford Field or when we get to wherever we're playing at, we're going to bust somebody's ass or we're going to hit them in the mouth. We may lose, but they're going to know you've been in a dogfight at the end of the game.
You remember that touchdown?
That's my first touchdown ever.
Yeah.
80 yards, man, at Lambeau.
Trent Dilfer throwing to you?
Oh, man, don't get me started. My quarterback history isn't the best. My quarterback history isn't the best. He's a super smart guy, but whatever.
Yeah, no doubt.